Hey, what's going on? Thank you for stopping by. If this is your first time, my name is Jesse Delgado, and I specialize in video production and content marketing, helping you make, market, and monetize your message. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification to stay up to date with all the most recent content. All right, so I wanted to make a video. As many of you know, I did a video when I first started, and that was in the beginning of 2019, and I announced that I'm gonna start a YouTube channel. All right, so let's get right into it. You know, starting a YouTube channel for me and uploading content and thinking of content has something that has really encouraged me just in my own growth as an artist, and also too just in my own personal life. I've been able to connect with several different people and hear feedback on videos and what they liked and what really helped them. And you know, that's really rewarding and satisfying. So all in all, looking back, man, I'm so glad that I started. And my one regret is I didn't start sooner. You know, just a side note real quick, one of the biggest reasons why I didn't start was because of fear. And let me just tell you, man, you cannot allow fear to dictate your life. Fear has no place. Matter of fact, if you're fearful about something, there's a good chance you should be doing it anyways. All right, so that's all great. Putting out content, making stuff, trying to hold yourself to a schedule, you know, being mindful of all of this stuff. That's all great. But what about the difficulty? You know, it wasn't long after I started that I started to realize the biggest struggle is going to be creating content. I mean, after all, how do you know what to create? How do you know what to say? And who are you speaking to? I mean, all of these things matter when trying to create. You know, sometimes that perfectionist side will come out and I'll be like, nah, I'm not really ready to teach that, or I don't want to talk about that yet because I don't have all the B-roll, or I don't have all the information, or I want to study that a little bit more. And while that's really good to make sure that everything's well, you know, thought out, planned and studied and presented well, you can't let that get in the way from actually completing and doing something. You know, even so much so that I'll get completely discouraged from making videos because I don't feel like I can make them at the level that I desire to make them at. You know, I feel like honestly, that's gonna just be a struggle for most of us trying to do these videos. You know, you're always gonna see your weaknesses. You're always gonna see where you can improve. And if you think on it too much, it's gonna stop you from taking any kind of action. You know, there's a whole different mindset that's surrounded around making content for other people. It's almost like a different way of thinking. You know, I don't know about you, but for me, I don't have the most exciting lifestyle. You know, I have work that I do, I have a family, I have a church that I attend, but none of that in and of itself is extremely overwhelmingly exciting that I just want to take a camera and film everything. But it's a different way of looking at it. And that's something that I've had to adjust. For example, where are the stories? And I'll know in advance that I have a job coming up and I have some time to be able to prepare for it. And really, it's this content creating mind that I have to look at things differently and go, okay, what is some content that I can pull out of this job or this event or this place? What is a unique perspective, or how can I help somebody with this? You always got to be looking at it from how can I make the most out of every situation that just naturally occurs in my life? And let me tell you, I mean, for me, it's been a struggle. It's been difficult. It's not the most easiest thing to do because while you're thinking about that, sometimes it's on the fly and you're in the middle of working or doing a job, or your mind is split between two different things. And it's just been a huge challenge for me. So having that content creation mind, looking at angles, looking at ways to tell unique stories and help people has really been a challenge. And I think honestly, it's going to be a challenge for a little while until I get more used to it. And I think that's why it's even more, back to the first point, why it's even more important that you just get started. You just got to start, man, because that's how you're going to figure this stuff out. That's how you're going to retrain your mind to look at things in a unique way. All right, so the next biggest struggle, and I feel like this one was my struggle before I started YouTube. And then also too, I see this struggle with so many other people as well. And that's, what am I going to say? What do I have to say to you, right? Now, this is interesting because, you know, there's some things that are currently going on in my life that are fresh that I can talk to you about, right? But what about the people that I'm trying to help, that I'm trying to talk to, that are in situations where I was 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago? It can be a real challenge to get in that frame of mind and think about those issues and those struggles and those difficulties and what they want to know and what they need to know to be able to help them progress in their journey. And you know, this is exactly why knowing your audience is so important. And this is just coming from the marketing side of me. You have to know exactly who you're talking to. You have to know what you're saying to that person, how you can help them, what their pains are, what they spend their nights worrying about, where they're trying to get to, the feelings that they're feeling, the stuff that they're looking at, the information that they want to know. Like, you really have to know who it is that you're trying to serve. Because if you don't, your stuff is going to be all over the place and it's really not going to resonate with any one person. You know, just on a side note, it's so important that for me, many times I get bogged down by this. And I start overthinking and I start going, maybe I'm gonna talk to this person, or maybe I'm gonna talk to this person, or you know what, maybe it's this person with a little twist of this, or maybe I should position myself like this. Like, it can become overwhelming when you start looking at who your audience is. Who is your audience? You should be able to have a customer avatar on what the audience looks like, what kind of situation they're in their life, so that you can best help them. You know, for this one, I constantly find myself overthinking it and changing it a lot of times. You know, something that I kind of came up with that helps keep me in alignment with my target audience is the difference between the heart and the strategy. And let me explain a little bit of what they are. So the heart is your passion. Your heart is where you're coming from. The heart is what you're excited about, who you are, your personal story, the things you love, the things you don't love, right? That's your heart. Your heart is your personality. But then you also have your strategy. And your strategy is the best way to package those things to put them online, right? If I just did a 30-minute video about a story that had no particular strategy, people would get bored. It wouldn't be palatable. Nobody really wants to see that. So you have to have the strategy, who you're talking to, what they want, ways to grab their attention, all these kind of things, keywords, all this kind of stuff is all strategy, right? So you got your heart, you got your strategy. Now, sometimes what happens in my situation is I can go too heavy on strategy, and I'm thinking about all the ways that I can target a specific person, or what that specific person, maybe who's not even in my audience, maybe what they're wanting or what they're needing. And I can become consumed with the strategy aspect of it and miss the heart aspect of it, who I am, what I have to offer, what things I think are important. So maybe you're the other way around. You're all heart and you just love to just tell your stories. You just love to talk about your experiences and things like that, but you have no strategy. Either way, you need to have a mixture of both. So that's something that's really, really important, especially on YouTube. You know, what makes YouTube so great is it really is a unique platform. And one of the biggest ways that it is unique is that, you know what, anybody can shine. It doesn't matter who you are, what type of following, you can blow up. You can grow followers, you can create a movement, you can do a whole bunch of stuff. And the reason why you can do that is because YouTube prioritizes quality content. So the more you're able to target a specific person and make really dope content for that person that they enjoy, that they love, that they share, that they interact with, the better you're gonna do and the faster you're gonna grow. One of the biggest mistakes that people can make when approaching YouTube is not being specific enough. You know, saying, I wanna do this, I wanna talk about my writing, but I also wanna talk about my cooking. And you know what, I love to read the word and get in Bible study, and so I'm gonna throw in some scriptures in there too. All of a sudden you got this melting pot of a whole bunch of different things, and nobody really quite knows what it is that you do. You don't wanna do that. When you're approaching YouTube, you want to look at it from a position of being super specific, hyper targeted, and really niche down. You'll hear those terms a lot, specifically in marketing. And what that means is that you want to talk to a specific person, and not just a specific person, but even more so, you know, not just filmmakers, but filmmakers who are starting out. Not just filmmakers who are starting out, but filmmakers who are starting out who are trying to grow a business. Not just that, but filmmakers who are starting out, who are trying to grow a business, who are tired of their day job. See how deep it can get? That's where you're targeting. That's where your audience needs to come from. So the more specific that you can be, the better you're gonna do, because the more you're gonna attract those kind of people. And the more you're gonna detract people that aren't really interested in those kind of things. It's an easy choice for them. They either hate it or love it. All right, so now for the final question. Should you start YouTube? 10,000 times yes. I don't even know if that's an answer, but it is yes, an adamant yes. And here's why. I believe that everybody got a message, they have a skill set, they have a knowledge that can help somebody out. Like, you've been through things in your life, or you've learned things, or you spent the time putting in work and you've discovered things. You have some sort of personal development, some sort of gift, some sort of talent that is inside of you YouTube is the perfect opportunity to be able to get that out and to be able to help other people in their situations right where they're at. You know, a lot of people talk about YouTube being too saturated and stuff like that. And to be honest with you, that's just not the case. We're really in the beginning stages of all of this kind of stuff. Like, now is the perfect time to be able to get on this camera. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's awkward talking to a camera that's just sitting there and trying to muster emotions and passions and feelings and things like that. But over time, you get used to it. And over time, you start to find your voice. You start to learn how to tell your stories. You start to have that content creation mind that I talked about earlier. And it's a really, really satisfying and rewarding feeling when you're able to help somebody out who maybe was in a situation, or maybe you were in that situation before, or they just got something good out of your content. It's a really, really rewarding feeling. And also too, it's purposeful, man. It's not about you and what you're doing. It's purposeful. It's giving back. It's helping other people. It's connecting with an audience. And listen, that's the best way to do it. And as you grow and get better, you'll only get bigger and more exposure. So should you start a YouTube? Yes, I think you absolutely should. It's the perfect time to do it. Man, what are you waiting for? You have abilities to be able to help somebody right where they're at. Get started in your YouTube journey right now. Hit me up. Let me know. Send me a message. I'll be your first subscriber. Promise you, I'll be your first subscriber. I'll support you on your journey. Because you know what? That's part of my journey. You know, that's what I want to do. And that's the people that I want to help. People that are willing to face their fears for the sake of helping others and growing themselves as a person. And I have no doubt that there's a business model that is built around that will help you to have freedom over your life, freedom over your finances, and help you live a more fulfilled life. I believe that 1000%. This is the best time to do it. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment below and let me know, have you been following some of these videos or whatever? I don't even know. I'm still learning how to close these things out. I don't even really know how to close these videos out yet. But anyways, until next time, y'all, man, what do I say? Peace or